Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I've asked the people of the state of Minnesota to make me the next senator. And let me give you an example of why. Here I am, working on a car, trying to fix the outer tire arm, or should I say the outer tire rod, working with gas. Now, I'm a social scientist, qualified to be a social scientist, but I'm out here working on a car. And the reason that I'm working on a car is because I do not have the funds to go and pay the professionals. The reason that I don't have the funds to pay the professional goes all the way back, a long way. You see, the fact that I'm sitting here today is the result of a miracle. A miracle that was so fantastic that it caused me to make a change in my life. And so trying to make money, as we who live in America have been conditioned to do so we can survive, has been one of those things that I haven't put so much thought on. Survival, yes, but not just for me, but survival for everybody. See, I'm not the only one who work on cars. There are a lot of shade tree mechanics around. There are a lot of people trying to do their own things. There are a lot of people who work and make money, but they're so far in debt just trying to keep their heads above water till it's absolutely pathetic. So I'm out here now with a new canister of butane gasoline, propane, in hopes that I can fix this car. It's been working on it for 2 days. I can get this cap off. Yep, is it coming? It looks like it might be coming. So I got it off. Now I got this torch I got to screw on here. Now you might ask, why in the world am I trying to be a senator from the state of Minnesota? The reason is because people are people. And I've allowed myself to learn the pain and suffering of so many others. Now, there are so many who don't suffer as much as I do, but nevertheless, they suffer, and I have. And so rather than just looking after me, dog eat dog world, and the experience that I've learned and how important it is to do something, it causes me to sit here and work on this car and sit here and share with you what I'm doing in hopes that I might be able to do something for the people of the world. You see, that's how fantastic that miracle in my life was. Enough to stimulate me to want to do something for the world. But now, before I can do something for the world, I got to think about doing something for my country, the United States. And before I can think about doing something for the United States, I must think about doing something for my state, the state of Minnesota. And what do I want for the people of the state of Minnesota? I want their dreams to come true. I want them to live and be glad that they are alive. Now, I've lived a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I should have been gone a long time ago as a young man in my 20s. But here I am now, almost 70 years old, committed for change. And with that commitment, it has allowed me to learn an awful lot about this world that I live in. Now, when I talk about this to my friends and to the preachers who are my friends, I have sort of become a preacher myself. And when I mention to them about my ambitions, about what I'm considering doing, they say to me, don't say anything about God. You know, you talk about God a lot, but this is a country that has a separation between God and state. So if you want to be political, leave out God. And that's the strangest thing I ever heard of. You see, I don't understand communication like that. To me, that's fakery. That's a statement of not knowing God. You've heard the story about the prodigal son. The prodigal son represents what we as human beings go through all our lives. We want ours. We want to go out and prove to the world who we are, because to ourselves we think we are somebody. And some of us think that we're somebody to the degree that we can do something for others. Well, the prodigal son, as you know, went out and found out that he wasn't all that. And he made up his mind to return to where he come from, or to return back to where he had some real knowledge of something that was wonderful. And that's the way I tell people about God. I say to them, as I have learned, living in this world, I don't have to describe it to you. You know exactly what it's like. But I have lived in this world to the extent that I have learned that everything that people talk about is all hogwash. It is still dog eat dog. And nobody wants to live in a dog eat dog world, except those who are so corrupt that they'll do anything to be on top. And so, as I've watched those who say they can do something for you, in America we have the Republicans and the Democrats. We have white men, and we finally got a black man. And in my lifetime, the living conditions have always been the same. Always been the same. And for me to sit up and say, I want to talk to you about God, or talk to you about what I can do for you, what does that mean? Am I any more than George Bush, both of them? Am I any more than Bill Clinton? Am I any more than Barack Obama or Donald Trump? As a man, am I any more? Can I do for you any more than they have done? Or I might switch things around a little bit. But the evidence proves that at the end of the day, the people will still be suffering. I won't be able to do anything for myself, or the people of the state of Minnesota, the nation, or the world. So being born again, to me, means to be able to admit that. To admit that men and whatever they think, and whomever they think they are not sufficient to deal with this problem. And the only way this problem can be dealt with is that we recognize a power that's outside of ourselves and allow that power to guide us and to be our official, our director, and possibly then we can deal with the problems of the day. And so, when I ask you to make me the senator, eventually the president, it's because I want you to know that I do not offer myself up to you as the one who knows the answer. I want to connect you to the one that has the answer. That's God. Now, if you got any other beliefs that you think some other man, some other woman can do this thing for you, even though they've never done it. If that's what you want to trust in, that's up to you. I'm not coming to you telling you I can do this, I can do that. I'm not a Trump. I'm not the answer to everything. But I can take you where the answer is. And that answer is God. Now, if I tried to give you a conversation and leave God out, what would this conversation sound like? I would say something to you like, well, I would like to see the people of the state of Minnesota have their dreams come true. And basically what that means is that they are adequately, sufficiently possessed with the resources for survival. And when I say that, I'm talking about food, clothing, shelter. And if they want to be progressive, I'm talking about education. And if I wanted to get a little bit more into it than that, and I have to talk about health care. And how can these things be met? I want the people to know that it is important that they got careers, that they have a job. This is the only way I can say that and be serious and honest. Anything else would just be a lie. And so, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do want that to happen. But I want to see how I can say that without God. So, I will tell you that I have learned, my friends, I've learned that in order to rule the world, excuse me, I'm trying to run this gas thing, you have to divide the world. And in dividing the world, you have to use deception. I've recognized that since the beginning of time, that has been practiced. Dividing the family, husbands against wives. They can't go anywhere, they can't do anything being divided like that. The family being divided, that means the parents against the children. You know the children say they can do it better. Even as toddlers, they think they can do it better. They can't wait to leave home so they can show who and what they are. I'd have to say that the division wouldn't stop there. It would have to be affected in our faith. You'd have Protestants and you'd have Catholics. All of these things as an expression of trying to change or just admitting what has happened. Then that wouldn't be sufficient enough, because then, as we have seen, you got to divide the nation. And in dividing the nation, that basically sets up for Republicans and Democrats. And we see where that has gotten us as well. That's not sufficient enough. So what is the next step? Next step, ladies and gentlemen, we have to divide, as we can see, the people. And that comes from the haves and the have-nots. Oh, my friend. And how are you able to run a Ponzi scheme on people like that? Well, the practice has been, as I have seen it, is that you try to convince people that some are more important than others. You know, you have people like kings and queens, you call them royals, pharaohs and Caesars and popes, who claim to be descendants from the Most High, from that power that we can't see or touch or feel. These are the kinds of things that have been said. And so they convince the rest of the people that they deserve more and they are the ones. And the practice for that is that you hear people saying that white people are superior to black people, or Asians superior to white, or Americans superior to the other people of the world, or that Jews are God's chosen people. All of these things divide people, as I have witnessed it. But if I were to tell you the truth, I see these things happening. And it has a result in everything that's going on. So what I would say to anybody who's serious is this, is that we got to change the rules. We got to change the system. I would say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that if we look at the earth, we know that no man had anything to do with the creative process of this earth. Everything that is used to satisfy our requirements for survival and anything else that we want to do has already been planted here on the earth. Whether it's above the earth, seen and unseen, like the waters above the earth, like the electricity, the audios and the videos. We don't see that, but it's all here. We can't deny it. It's all here. And so then, ladies and gentlemen, when we accept that, then we talk about other things. And what kind of other things do we talk about? What is this? We talk about real good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Got to get this thing here going if I can. Oh, I got it heated enough, I think. Oh, but I can't put my hands on it. That thing is hot. Oh, boy. Woo! Let me see. How do I want to do this? Ah, man. And so, since the situation is like this, we talk about the food and clothing, and if all of these things that are above the earth, seen and unseen, we think about the things that's on this earth, like the waters, the vegetables, the flowers, the trees, the animals, all of these things that live on the earth. We had nothing to do with, as a man, with those things being on the earth, but they're here nevertheless. We think about the things in the earth, like oil and gas and all of these other things. Now, ask yourself, what role did man play in the creative process of that? I can't think of any role they played. But I do know that everything that has been given for our survival that exists, man has played a role in that, and he's played a role in that process. So, it makes it seem that all things that exist today that man has made have been done by men. And all you do is change the reason for doing it, determines how the outcome is going to be. Doing it the way of the world, the way we've been doing it all the time, creates poverty and wealth, which creates crime and violence, terrorism and war, lying, cheating and stealing, and all of the things we have to go through, prisons and jails. But if we change our approach, allowing the people who benefit from these things to engage themselves in the working process, they play a part in the creation of these things. They are not just workers, they are owners. By playing their role, they own everything. They got partnership, ownership in everything that exists. And what you own, you don't have to buy. You use it as need, want, and desire. That way you can have peace, you can have prosperity, you can have joy in your lives. No doubt about that. No lying, no cheating, no stealing, no killing, no wars. None of this stuff is necessary. So I would say to you, this is the process whereby we can live without banks and loans and debt and fees and taxes. So what I have said to you, I say this because I have an understanding of a power that put this earth here. I have the understanding of a power that put all human beings here. And I have an understanding of a process which would allow us to create our own heaven. Now that came to me by an understanding and a reference and a respect for God, which tells me the only way that I can honor a power that I can't see, a power that I can't touch and feel, is by honoring you, by us honoring one another. And by so doing that, that is the truest expression we can ever give for a love for something we can't see. And we have to do that because all of the stuff that has been given to us, we didn't have anything to do with making. Nothing. So I say the earth is the Lord, the fullness thereof, and let us respect that. So if somebody say, well, talk about God or talk about politics and what you want to see for people without mentioning God, that's the only way I can do it. And yet my understanding is that this can only happen if there is a respect and appreciation for God. Now, if you don't know God, but you can follow these basic principles, you're a good one. But even that would work. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've taken a little bit of time from trying to fix this car, and I got to go get this thing going. I've been working on it this is the third day. So, I want to thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you while I sit out here as a shade tree mechanic trying to fix the car that the pros should be doing. And I should be doing whatever else I should be doing. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying thank you. Bye-bye.